Miss Berry. We're gonna talk about Miss Halle Berry. Not really talk about her, but her indirectly. A couple things have expired out of her. Uh, you know, her divorce announcement, her fourth divorce. I don't know what she's doing. She's trying to be the biracial Liz Taylor. She's halfway there, 4 divorces. But we're gonna talk about something that came out of these situations. 2 different points I wanted to make. So the first thing I noticed is that there was this meme going around about, how dare, this double standard exists, which I don't think is a double standard. It's just a different standard. Men and women are different. Everything isn't a double standard. But they were making a point that how is it that Steve Harvey can have success and have had several divorces, whereas Halle Berry's had 4, and she's, people are saying she's crazy and something's wrong with her. There's a lot of articles defending this, saying why does it have to be her? Well, she seems to be the common denominator, right? But women were, going in talking about, how is it that Steve can do this and he's cool and he's successful for it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a minute. So Steve Harvey is a relationship expert on whose expense, on whose dime, who put him in that position? Not us, right? So a man who's admitted to his failed marriages, one definitely we know was due to cheating and infidelity. Another was possibly just simply he wanted to upgrade and get the better, more attractive chick or whatnot. But we know that his divorces are, largely his fault. And still, you ladies bought his books. You thinking like men, acting like women, or if that's how it goes. You're implementing his 90-day rules. You're watching his movies. You watch his TV show. You made him who he is. So you're asking us, why is Halle Berry crazy and he can be successful when you're the reason why he's successful at what he does? I didn't understand that. If Halle Berry wrote a book about relationships, men are not going to go buy it unless she's naked in every page, but that's the only way we're going to go buy it. So it's not a double standard. Y'all just silly and stupid. Unfortunately, people have found a way to monetize or profit off of the pain of women, period, but particularly black women. And, all Steve had to do was tell you what you want to hear, make men always the problem. It's always their fault, and you give them your money. You made them a guru. Again, men did not make Steve Harvey who he is today. You ladies did. So you can't say it's a double standard or, it's wrong because he went in a different direction than Miss Berry. Again, if Miss Berry ever did anything about relationships, guess what? Y'all would probably still buy it. That's the crazy thing. I don't know. But that's one thing I noticed is like trying to defend her. There was a lot of articles defending her saying there's nothing wrong with her and she's okay and, it's sexist or whatever, just to criticize her and, no, she's the common denominator. But there was another point I noticed too with the situation trending with Miss Berry's 4th divorce announcement. I think this narrative too happening. That's Eric Benet, and that's her first husband, the ex-baseball player, I think that is. But they've been trending too because they went to Twitter with the Twitter fingers, and they went, saying like, "Yo, told you, it's her. We ain't crazy. It's her. She's something wrong with her." And there's a bunch of women going in on these brothers, calling them, you know how women do. They're minches and they're punks. They're soft because they defended themselves, And I know this happens a lot too. Whenever men speak on a situation where they're in relationships with women, they're not supposed to do that. I guess they're not supposed to defend themselves. Kind of like what happened with Future and Sierra. I did the video in defense of Future. Basically, he was saying like, yo, she led the media to believe that I cheated, that's why we broke up. When he's saying, no, that's not why it happened. We broke up because, I'm a trap Negro. I want to be in the studios, drinking lean, smoking weed. I'm not trying to go to, red carpet events and do holidays. That's not me. That was his defense of why they broke up. But because he went out and talked about their relationship and things that happened within it, again, women go attacking him. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I don't believe everything is a double standard. Some standards are just different because men and women are not the same. But I think it's odd how women can superhead, be in relationships with multiple men, and profit off of it, and write books about it, and nothing ever happens to her. Like, the same women who are probably upset at Eric Benet and the baseball player dude for tweeting something are the same women who bought Superhead's book to find out all the juicy dirt and all the men she messed with. So it's okay for women to talk about relationships, to paint men that they mess with in those relationships, but those men cannot defend themselves and say, this is what really happened, or here's my side to the story. That's kind of odd to me. And, I was listening to our favorite girl who swirls, the queen of squirrel, Kristen Clarazine, or Karazin, whatever. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I'm reading too much into it. Maybe it's not that serious or that deep. But I think she went in on Halle Berry, I guess. I didn't see the post where she did that, but according to her video, women were giving her backlash because she was criticizing Miss Berry for her fourth divorce. But she said something that kind of threw me off a little bit, not really, but I noticed, I paid attention to it. She said that, I was with Halle Berry after the first two marriages. These are the first two marriages that you see on your screen right there. And she said, but after that, she wasn't. So she understood the divorce in the two black men, but she couldn't understand her divorce in the two non-black men. Maybe I'm thinking too deep. Maybe it's not that serious. But that's just too convenient. Never mind. But I thought that was kind of odd from my favorite girl who swirls. Link in the box to the root article from this Feminine Fascist going in. Can you even see them boys on Eric and the other guy? But I just know. I just think it's just weird how I remember as a kid watching Halle Berry do an interview. I don't know if it was Jay Leno or Dave. This is like back in the day, and I just remember her going through her whole list of men and her whole story of the one was cheating on her, this one was beating on her, this one was he was what was he doing? One guy used her for money and she spent $100,000 or $200,000 to get back $100,000 suit or whatever, and I thought about that, like, none of these men have ever come forth and been able to defend themselves or say whatever they want, and I guess these two gentlemen are using this opportunity to say, like, yo, we told y'all, it ain't us, it's her. And I'm saying, like, it's crazy how women, I forgot his name, Obadiah, whatever, I was watching some of his videos, and he puts it correctly how women don't check other women and call them out on their effery, and, they get a lot of passes. And this is a clear example because every time this happens in the media, the women go in for men just simply telling their side of the story. Like, you're not supposed to. Think about this for a moment, right? I mentioned Superhead, right? So Superhead does what she does. She gets successful. She gets bookstore. She gets, she's made mainstream and she's made relevant off of sleeping with wealthy, powerful men and telling everybody about it. Meanwhile, some of these men were married and whatnot, and she was married at the time of some of these men too. But could you imagine if a thought dude like R. Kelly would write a book or show us some tapes of him with, the women he's messed with in the industry? Now, I guess in the man code, you don't do stuff like that publicly. You don't tell or whatever. But could you imagine, though, if he did that? Now, I don't recommend that to happen because I think situations would go completely different. Lives would be lost. As you recall, Trey Songz, I Got Your Girl, he allegedly messed with a fan, and the boyfriend or husband found out, and he killed her and himself. So I'm not saying this is something that should happen, but I'm saying, could you imagine if it did? So you're saying it's a double standard for, Steve Harvey to be successful and have a bunch of failed marriages, and Halle Berry's crazy, but you don't see a double standard in how when women are in relationships and it's bad or they break up, they can go to the media and tell them whatever they want to tell them, and the men just have to shut up and not say anything about it. Because if they do, that's, you know, that's not what a man does or whatever, you know? I don't know. I just think it's silly. I mean, I've seen it happen a few times recently. That just, you know, a man just not supposed to speak about things, not supposed to talk about those things, I guess. Who knew? But, damn, Miss Berry. Another one bites the dust. Pretty much to sum up this video, this comment was a few words. Would have summed up this whole video actually, but I read it in one of the groups that where the women were making up this fake double standard and making an issue out of no issue. But the comment was, you know, the men who are calling Halle Berry a failure because of her failed divorces are not the same men who are calling Steve Harvey an expert. And remember, ladies, we did not put him in that position. You did by supporting him, and you know, look at his show. It's a audience full of women. You know, who bought his book? I'm pretty sure men don't buy books anyways, period, especially on relationship advice. But you break down the data, probably 80-90% of the purchases were for females. So it's a silly question. You know, we didn't put him in the position he's in. Again, we were the ones saying that, you know, he's got on the zoot suit, he's profiting off your pain, he's, you know, he shouldn't be giving this type of advice because he's, you know, had several divorces. And your response was, you know, well, y'all just mad because he's holding men accountable and, you know, he's giving away all y'all secrets and stuff like that. But no, it's not that deep. We're not calling him an expert. You ladies are. That's my video.